Am I the asshole for exposing my cousin's creepy husband to my entire family? I, 22 female, met my cousin's husband, 24 female and 26 male, last July for their wedding. They live several states away, so in addition to meeting him for the first time, it was also the first time I had seen my cousin in a few years. I instantly got a bad vibe from him and he made several comments that rubbed me the wrong way. He told me I seemed like a wild child, and said he would bet I'm a bad girl at my college. Since meeting him he has followed me on Instagram and sporadically sends me reels, which I don't open, and comments odd things on my posts like, "Looking good cousin, thumbs up." He even DM'd me once, "Hey, I'll be in your state this weekend on business, lol," which I never opened either. All of this definitely creeped me out, but I didn't feel like I could say anything about it because my cousin and I aren't close, and I've always felt like she looks down on me because she is a devout Christian and I am not. Fast forward to this week. One of those fake accounts on Instagram popped up with some of my pictures asking for money for X-rated pictures. The bio was in broken English. The pictures were poorly cropped screenshots of my 2 most recent posts, and the Cash App was random string of numbers and letters. The account just looked very fake and many of my friends sent it to me and reported the account. Of course, the one person who apparently fell for it was my cousin's husband. I then got a very long, nasty DM from my cousin telling me she had been very tolerant of my sinful lifestyle, whatever that means, but this time I had gone too far. She said she didn't care that we were family, and so long as I was posing a threat to her marriage I was no longer welcome in their lives. I calmly and politely responded that this account was not me and that I had already reported the account to Instagram to be taken down, and I apologized for the apparent disruption to her day. She responded that she didn't believe me and said she pities me for having such low self-esteem and would keep me in her prayers. I lost it at this point. I called her stupid for falling for an account that was so obviously fake and said that her husband was such a blatant creep it was embarrassing she even married him. I sent screenshots of the months of DMs from him that I never responded to and concluded by saying, "If your marriage is so easily threatened, get a divorce. Don't take your insecurities out on me." Shortly after I got angry phone calls from my mom and my grandma saying my cousin made an honest mistake and that my response was cruel and unjustified. Apparently my cousin showed everyone our messages and is humiliated by what I said. My mom is worried our relationship with that side of the family is permanently damaged, and now I may not be welcome at future family gatherings because my grandmama doesn't want the drama. I really don't feel like my response was out of line, but since no one else agrees with me I'm not sure. So, am I the asshole? And no one is saying anything about how the husband tried to get pictures of you. Or tried to hit you up? Not the asshole, and good riddance. Not the asshole. Your cousin started the drama by being gullible and dumb and was a total asshole to you. She deserved to be called on it. And she will be much better off knowing what her husband is. Not the asshole. You're going to be blamed for everything. Your stupid cousin and her creep husband are the assholes here, but they will spin it that you are the problem. Not the asshole. Your response was not out of line. You were very sensitive to your cousin and her marriage by not outing her husband's creepy behavior. She's just butthurt that she got called out for being hateful and got his bad behavior shown to her. Anyone who takes her side is also a hateful jerk. Not the asshole. She came at you with insults and in a very Christian turn the other cheek way. You replied with helpful information about her husband so she may not be blindsided in the future. Even the timing is great, as her comment meant she was cutting ties, and thus you'd be unable to do so in the future. Now she has the golden opportunity to redirect her prayers towards her real problem. Not the asshole. Ask your mom why she's defending a predator. Am I the asshole for having high expectations for my bachelorette party? Throwaway and mobile account. I, 25F. I'm getting married to my wonderful fiancé, 31 male, this fall. A week ago I had a bachelorette party. While most girls dream of their weddings, I dreamt about my bachelorette weekend. I put a lot of planning into this weekend, made a lot of phone calls, reservations, everything basically. For Thursday night Sunday morning me and 25 of my closest girlfriends rented a house. From the start it was a disaster. I had told my girls to get to the house early on Thursday so they could decorate and set up before I got there. Well, I got to the house at 3 and they weren't done decorating, so that bummed me out because I wanted that wow moment when I came in and saw the setup. I felt robbed, but we still had a decent first night. Friday I woke everyone up at 7 a.m. to make breakfast and get ready because we had a packed day: vineyards, boat, lunch, happy hour drinks, then dinner and the clubs. I was getting shaded on all afternoon because people said they were being rushed from place to place and had to carry changes of clothes all day, but we only had limited time in this city and I wanted to make the most of it. Saturday was worse. We had brunch at 9 a.m. and no one was awake in time, so it only ended up being me and a few loyal bridesmaids. We went shopping after for a few hours, and when we got back to the house no one was even apologetic, even though I was close to tears all day. The last straw for me was later that night when we were going to dinner and nobody was wearing the matching shirts we got for the weekend. People wanted to wear their own stuff, but that's not what we agreed on, even though my mo notified everyone. At that point I said fuck it, this weekend was ruined, and locked myself in my room to cry. It was even worse when I came out a few hours later and half the girls had gone out anyway, without me, aka the actual bride. I ended up driving home early on Sunday and left the house a mess for the girls to pick up because I was so upset. Now it's been almost a week, no one has really texted me except some bridesmaids and Mo. I know I sound bridezilla-ish. But these are supposed to be my friends and we were supposed to celebrate me all weekend, and I felt neglected and I'm just really upset. I understand these expectations may seem like a lot, but I made my expectations clear to the group and they just let me down so bad. Tell me, am I the asshole? Here's an edit because people are asking me the same questions. 1. Yes, I have 25 people who I genuinely wanted to celebrate with. 6 of them are in my wedding party and the other 19 were college friends, childhood friends, work friends, etc. 2. Mo sent out the itinerary months ago. It was very clear the activities I planned and their prices per person. If someone had wanted to skip out, it wouldn't be a problem, but all the girls paid accordingly. So they knew what they were getting themselves into. Edit number 2. Well, I'm very clearly I've decided to apologize for wanting one weekend to be about me. I need to rethink my friend group and make some changes to the wedding invite list. Thanks. You are the asshole for all the control and then running off crying. No, you can't control 25 other women. Your expectations were too high. Also, who has 25 friends? This seems like some sorority craziness. You are the asshole. 25 people is not your closest friends, that's a large group of acquaintances which also includes your closest friends. I guarantee you that not all of them consider you to be their best friend. This means you were dragging people who were trying to politely support an extended member of their friend group into a huge elaborate event, where every detail had to be micromanaged for your personal benefit. You even complained that some of them did their own thing while you were pouting and hiding away from everyone, rather than sit patiently at the door for you to once again grace them with your presence. Yes, you do sound like a bridezilla. You are the asshole. You sound exhausting. Edit. Thanks for the karma. I was just being honest, lol. You are the asshole. You aren't describing a party. A party lasts a few hours. You had a 4-day weekend. People had to book multiple days off work for you. And surely this is a typo. You stuck 25 people in a single house? Also, you better not be waking me up at 7 and 9 a.m. on a weekend after making me go out the night before. You are the asshole. Did no one tell you this itinerary was way too much? You made your expectations clear, but did you not think at all about what everyone else wanted? I know it's your weekend, but that doesn't mean you get to cart everyone around like a kindergarten class. Am I the asshole for wanting to go somewhere while my wife is almost due? Now, I fully understand how the title sounds, and I've seen posts like this from the wife's point of view, but please hear me out. My wife is really close to giving birth, and we are both super excited to welcome our baby girl into this world. However, the issue is the fact that my 92-year-old grandfather is sick and will most likely pass on in the next week or so. He has been one of the kindest, best, and coolest people I've known, and he had a huge hand in raising me. So I want to fly over there in a couple of days to say goodbye and attend his funeral. My wife feels that this isn't as important than seeing the birth of my daughter should she go into labor while I'm gone. And while I know that the birth is extremely important, but I really want to say goodbye, and this can't wait, so am I the asshole? Edit. Some of you asked when she is due, and that isn't for around 2 weeks. What I'm thinking of doing now is to take the car this evening, it's a 5-hour drive, say goodbye tomorrow and come home in the afternoon. I will Zoom for the funeral. You are all right, my wife is the most important person. Edit 2. Hi guys. Thanks for the support on this post. I took today off and started driving to my grandfather's town around 2.5 hours ago. My wife is at home with my Sil and Mill, and my brother-in-law and her best friend live 5 minutes away from her, so she's fine. She was really happy about this compromise and gave me her go-ahead since she knows how close I was to my grandpa. I'm at a rest stop for lunch right now and the plan is to get there around 5 in the evening, talk to my grandfather and say goodbye to him, then drive back home and be there around 12 a.m. I was actually speaking to my wife and Mill and they said it would be really nice if my grandfather picked out my daughter's name, as a sort of connection to him for her after he passes on. Thanks. Edit 3. I talked to my grandfather. It was super emotional to say the least, but it seemed like he really enjoyed it, as did I. I asked him about naming my daughter, and though he refused and said it wasn't his place at first, he eventually gave us our baby girl's name. Madeline Rose, after my grandma and great-grandma respectfully. I'm going back home now, but it seems like my grandpa is going to go pretty soon. I'm glad I got to say goodbye at least. Thanks. Nah. Don't wait a couple of days. Fly there now, visit with him while he's still well enough to recognize you, and fly right home. Don't stay for the funeral. Life is more important than death. You've got a baby coming. People will understand, and those that won't aren't worth your time. Nah. Neither can wait. I'd, personally, stay and Zoom grandfather. I don't think anyone's an asshole here, but I agree with you, Fenora. I think your impression of childbirth is faulty. It's not the light-hearted affair movies TV have made it out to be. Your wife needs you there. Your grandfather doesn't. Sorry, but you are the asshole. I empathize with your situation. I just lost my grandmother. I have also given birth. Your wife needs you for support. It's not about watching the baby being born, it's about being there for your wife during a potentially deadly medical event. Given how wonderful your grandfather is, I'm sure you would understand. Your thinking is, well, yes, I'll miss the birth and that will be sad, but it's really nor as serious of an issue. And that's where you're wrong. Your wife is upset you'll miss the birth, but also she's scared and won't have you for support. Birth isn't a magical mystical experience, it's a medical procedure, a painful one, and some of the complication include permanent disability requiring major surgery at a moment's notice and death. A possibility for both the mother and child. Sure, it could be a perfect birth and nothing could go wrong. But also a lot could go wrong, and how would you feel if you weren't there to support her in that moment? YTA. You wife and child are more important. Birth can go wrong so fast. If your wife goes through a traumatic birth and you're not there, she will never forgive you. If the worst happens, and it does still happen even with all tech we have. Mums still do die in childbirth. You baby wouldn't have anyone there to make medical decisions for them, or bub dies and you're not there. Going against the grain, you are the asshole. I get that this is a tough spot to be in, but this isn't just about seeing your child born. This is about your wife needing support. Giving birth is one of the scariest and most painful things she will ever have to go through, and you should be there with her. ETA. As her husband, you are also her next of kin, and if there are complications or a medical emergency, then you need to be the one to make the decisions. Am I the asshole for taking my daughter and leaving the wedding after her stepbrother pulled her wig? My daughter, 16, Megan, just finished her cancer treatment. She's lost her hair in the process and she's been incredibly insecure because of it. She no longer meets friends nor welcomes them at our home, nor even meet family on person. It's been bad to say the least, but her stepbrother, 18, Ben, has been making it worse with his nagging comments and jokes about her looks. He tried taking and posting pics of her secretly to share, but I shut that down even though my husband thought it was just harmless teasing. My husband's sister's wedding was last week. The family wanted Megan go, but she didn't want to. I spent so much time trying to help her and convince her to start socializing again and see family. She agreed under the condition that I let her wear a wig, which I agreed. Not only that, but I took her shopping to pick her own wig, and she looked beautifully stunning in her pixie hairstyle wig. My husband and Ben laughed when they saw it. I don't know why. We went to the wedding and everything was going well till this happened. We were all sitting and we started talking about Megan. Look. Suddenly Ben reached out and pulled her wig and exposed her head. I was shocked, I froze, but Megan yelled, then took her wig and ran. Ben, his cousins and some guests started laughing. I was upset, especially when looked over my shoulder and saw my husband sitting next to his mom and laughing. I lost it on Ben and berated him in front of everyone, then took my stuff, got Megan and got into the car and went home. Ben and my husband didn't have a ride home and my husband kept calling me, but I didn't respond. He came home asking about me leaving mid-wedding and upsetting his sister and then leaving him and Ben with no route home. I argued with him about how Ben embarrassed Meghan and humiliated her publicly, which must have ruined what's left of her self-esteem. He said that it was just kids teasing each other, and that I overreacted and Ben had no malicious intent, he was just messing with her. I said I was sick of it, but he said that this is their way of bonding as stepsiblings and I was getting in the way of it and being overprotective and unreasonable. We didn't talk after that, and Ben is refusing to apologize and his dad is backing him up. Not the asshole, but you need to divorce that man. His and his adult son's behavior is disgusting. There is absolutely no excuse for what Ben did. YWBTA if you stay married to this man. I would be kicking him and his asshole son to the curb. Who the F makes fun of a cancer patient? Better yet, who lets someone make fun of a cancer patient? Why are you staying with this man? Not the asshole. You ought reconsider who you are married to. Your husband is equally as cruel as his son, and we can all see where his son gets it from. Especially when you saw both your husband and his father laughing about it as well. They are a cruel family, and I'm sorry your daughter is suffering due to you not wanting to see the truth until this event. Absolutely not the asshole. Fuck both of them. A girl who's undergone cancer treatment? Publicly embarrassing her? Them refusing to acknowledge their mistakes or apologize? I'd reconsider my relationship if they refuse to change their stance. No malicious intent? Adults laughing at a child with cancer isn't malicious? If that isn't malicious, then I don't know what is. Not the asshole. Ben's behavior isn't harmless teasing. He's bullying Meghan for being a cancer survivor, and you absolutely did the right thing by leaving the wedding. I would seriously rethink your living situation though. Meghan deserves to be in an environment where she is treated respectfully and doesn't have to deal with constant bullying. If your husband and Ben aren't willing to stop the bullying, it's time to get Meghan into a safer home.